Welcome to Unity this morning. So we're just going to come into the presence of this room and leave the world outside those doors. We've been blessing the room all morning, so you should be taking any current of any limited thought processes or things that are feeling like they're not flowing, and we're just here to align ourselves back into the heart center where everything flows and is in divine order. So I'm going to start just like Norma starts every week with chanting. And they say to chant is to pray twice. So we encourage you to sing. So I will sing the call, and then you'll hear Laura and Larry and Louie doing the responses to these powerful words. So let's just get comfortable in your seats and allow this hour to bless you. he almost got picked up by this bowl. All of a sudden you can hear it swirling, it's picking up on that spirit energy right there. It's so powerful, so beautiful. So today, my talk title for this service is Awakening to the Ethereal Realm. And opening our lens to the amazement of spirit and the communication that we can start to have when we believe that everything is divinely communicating with us and through us. I've lived my life from probably 30 years on after I lost a child, and my entire experience became, I want to know where he went. I want to know that he's protected. I want to know that he's okay. And so I did a big deep dive for years and years, really almost like my sole purpose was to understand this veil between the physical and the ethereal, spiritual. And my findings in that journey has changed me completely. I used to be a more fearful person of the thought of death and transformation and facing loss and facing change. And the more I looked into near-death experiences and people that have seen the tunnel when they've had that near-death experience and the comfort and the love that happens when they're dying and have actually physically been dead and then found out that they had to come back here. And the very common current is that they don't want to come back here. This is the hard part, the physical part, the ups and downs and the traumas and the hurts and the judgments and the non-forgiveness and all the things that we go through in this human experience as spiritual beings first. It's so jarring because we come from the ethereal. It is the constant. And when we really lean into understanding that there's something this light being, the ethereal being, that is the part of us that never dies. It's really the researching the part of us that has always been alive. And this physical is temporary. And I've had the honor to talk to some of the great mystics of our time now that are able to read Akashic records, the records that, going from singing to speaking is different vocal cords. There's this book called The Book of Life, or Akashic Records, that keeps track of our soul's journey. And Edgar Cayce was one of the great mystics that does precede us, but in the last 100 years, so he's pretty new, and he is the proven documented psychic. He was actually proven by being tested by Secret Service and all sorts of stuff. They wanted to prove that he wasn't actually doing it. And when he'd go in the sleep state and do readings for people, they actually hurt him physically, did things like put pins in his body and tortured him, and he didn't come out of it and still did readings for these people that were testing him. So he's really one of the only proven psychics that had the ability to see beyond the physicality of the person that he was reading and was able to talk about their soul journey and why they might be afflicted with illness this lifetime, or accumulative divorces, or headaches, or he could look into the past life and see what was carried from the past to help them get here now in this particular body. It's fascinating, fascinating stuff. And boy, oh boy, you want to eat some books up. They're incredible. When I had held my baby into the spirit world, that week I was leaving town to go commune with my brothers and their wives and just needed to get away from here and just center. I was in the bookstore looking for a book to go on the airplane with, and the Akashic Records book jumped off the shelf and landed at my feet. That was written by Ted Tedeschi is his last name, I can't remember his first name, on Edgar Casey's work. And his readings are all the way through. And if you want to have a connection with somebody that you've lost, that's a really incredible book, just to show you and to prove to you what you're experiencing is real, that you are communicating. And it's just so assuring, and it's just so wonderful. We spend so much time of our life worried about this end point. And then as we get to middle age, where I am at this point, I've lost so many friends to life. Depression, illnesses, working as a minister for 20 years, you see all of it. And the calm that I feel in the face of it, because I know Spirit has chosen me to help people through those trials and tribulations, and how could I have been a midwife of death in a way for people if I hadn't gone through my own loss and my own tragedy in a way. So yesterday in this auditorium, when you guys come to a service, you have no idea all the beautiful things that are happening here. And yesterday in the morning, I did a christening for a 6-month-old baby with a little bow tie on. Oh, it's so cute. I couldn't stand it. And they tend to cry when christenings are not to baptize them like they came in with a soul that has anything but perfection. We're just honoring that they're a child of God, and the parents are recognizing that they've been chosen. This is not their child, it's God's child, and then they're here to keep the spiritual life going and to evoke that flame within them, to keep them on a spiritual life. And we use castor oil, which is the palm of Christi oil, which is considered the oil of Christ, and we do the cross. And the babies tend to not get up, like they don't like that part. And this little baby grabbed my hand, and he did it with my hand each time I did it, because we also baptized them with the holy water from Israel, and then we use white roses for the purification, that these children are coming in with less karma because they have such a feat this time in this world with the state of our planet, and so that they are here as adversaries of Spirit's love. It's quite a responsibility, and I found myself tearing up saying that to this baby yesterday, feeling like what a huge responsibility for children to have to take on what they face here. But the wisdom in this baby's eyes gave me so much hope. And later that day, we were holding a memorial for a beautiful, beautiful woman at 2:00, and she was a real light bearer in this world. She wasn't really part of our congregation, but was absolutely the consciousness of this center, which is just high consciousness. And the collective energy in the middle of the service completely knocked all the power out of this building. And I just love this stuff. I just go, and what I loved is that they weren't upset at our staff that we couldn't get it all back working and everything. They were like rejoicing in the proof of Spirit, right? Like when you look through a lens, that Spirit is always working in and through us, and especially when you've done memorials as much as I have, something always happens. The Spirit comes through. I had a memorial where, unfortunately, this woman had taken her life, and I was standing with her twin boys that were only 18 years old, and they were speaking to her. And this light right here exploded, and flames came everywhere. I had to pull the boys out of the way. And I knew that was her connecting with her boys. But the most amazing part was the next day we went to go change the light bulb, and it was perfectly fine, and there's nothing wrong with it. These kind of experiences all of my life, they just make you soften into the difficult stuff, because you realize that there's a growing happening whenever we are up against another situation where we're afraid or we're concerned or we don't know what to do next. And when we really can learn to soften in those moments and just to connect with God, Spirit, Source, whatever word divinely connects you and makes you feel this love, right? And then last night, downstairs, we have a christening. We had all the worlds of what the human experience is, and we closed last night with our tantric dating group downstairs. So we're like birth, death, and then all that fun stuff in between, right? So I just tell you all this just to really encourage you to look at all the wonderful things that are happening here. You know, we've got today the conscious communication group, which helps people learn how to communicate consciously to end the strife in our lives with people we can't find a way to hear them or to be heard. How we can be these adversaries in every area of our life, even and especially in the difficult stuff, in the hard relationships, right? So, the etheric body has no disease or fatigue that once was part of the physical body. And it has the ability to move from one point to another through thought, awakening our superconscious, the subconscious, and the conscious mind. And we're going to talk about this today. We are all constantly picking up spirit impressions in this way, so to embark on the ability to reveal the messages forming. Through the superconscious, and we do this by meditating. We do this by walking on Mother Earth without shoes on. Doing whatever we can to quiet the mind and to move into the heart. The healing energy of the vibration of the heart. That's where all the answers live. That's where all the memories from all the lifetimes live. So to get a bowl in the tone of the heart is a really wonderful way so that you align yourself with song. Edgar Cayce said in the end, it's going to be sound that heals us. We're going to realize that all this medicine, all these medications, all the things we're taking, even the vitamins, are not going to be needed when we work with sound. Sound because we are energy. We vibrate as an energy. And we know when we're in low energy because we're in low energy, right? We're in low vibration and we're tired all the time. We don't feel inspired. We don't feel God. So when our body tells us, our body speaks to us and says when we are in high vibration because we're filled with vigor and energy and excitement. We still have a childlike wonder that we can't wait to see what's coming next. And it says that in the Bible to be regaining as children, to see through the eyes of magic, expecting the miracles that happen when you live from a view that your good can never be taken from you. Your good will never be taken from you. We will have difficult times in life. We will have heartbreaking times in life. And we will lose people that we're very attached to in this world. And then we find, when we've recalibrated and learned what we learn when we lose these people, we realize that we can regain a relationship and a communication with them. It's different, but they're still there. So, I've never lost anyone that hasn't communicated with me after. I have this bracelet on that I got 2 years ago when my best friend Maya passed away. And after I performed the service, which I wasn't planning on doing because I just felt it was too close for me to do. We'd been friends since 4 years old. We sang together for years. She was just a soulmate of mine, you know. We spoke just the same language always. And I showed up I donated the place for her memorial. And she wasn't in Unity. She was actually very Christian. Just in the later years, it was interesting to observe, you know, people change, and it was, you know. Anyway, so she got her Christian minister to come and do it here. And when he showed up, it was about 5 minutes till the service. He said, I didn't know I was performing the service. I just thought I was going to be speaking in an open mic, and it was like my adrenaline just went through the roof because I told her I'm not doing it. She told me, I really want you to do it. And I mean, I felt her like, oh my goodness, you have literally pulled off me having to do this. I was like, I could just feel her giggling because that would be so her, like, I want you to do it. And I told her I'm not strong enough to do it. She's saying, I'm going to show you that you are, right? And I was. I cried a lot through that service, but I'm so grateful that I did, you know. And afterwards, I went to her home, and her son, her boy, who was 16 at the time, said, I want you to pick out any piece of jewelry out of her jewelry box. And so I haven't had it off of my arm since. And it looks brand new. It's like I shower with it and everything. This thing should be wearing out, but it's like brand new. It's like it's just my connection with her, and she came to me in dreams for months and months until I actually told her that you have to go now, experience more. I don't want to see it all yet. I want to be here and now, and so she communicates with me in other ways now, much more through animals and things like that. So I guess my point in this talk is to really start opening your eyes up bigger from an ego point of view on your life. Not in it where we're reacting and we're, you know, thinking of what we're going to say next when people are talking to us, but actually just observing your being from an expanded point of view where you look at the 20s and the 30s and the 40s and the 50s and whatever has happened and the currents that are repeating themselves. Because the currents that are repeating themselves are the teacher. And once we can finally heal those things, we can overcome them, we become more enlightened, more intuitive, more second sight, right? So getting to a point where we're looking for the signs and the secret language of the universe, which to me is a language that I speak. And I have people that look at me like I'm from Mars, right? And I don't care. That's none of my business. My business is that I want to walk through life in peace and in harmony. And I have moments where I get really aggressive energies towards me because when people aren't ready to be in harmony, they want to prove that you're not in harmony. And it's an interesting witness to life, but all we just keep doing is mirroring that love back to our friends and our families. One of the most wonderful signs from the universe is synchronicities. Maybe it's something that falls into place directly after you were thinking of it, or your best friend on the phone without ringing. Have you ever had that where you pick up, you're thinking of the person and it didn't even ring, and it's just hollow, and they start talking, you're like, oh my gosh. My mom does that to me all the time. All the time. I pick up the phone and it never rang. I was like going to call her, right? My mom and I have that. That's something. We've traveled many lifetimes together, for sure. Like when you're thinking of someone and that might have crossed over, and all of a sudden that the name of that person's on the side of a bus that passes you, right? Where you just see that spirit is constantly communicating, and the universe is, and our friends on the other side are constantly communicating with us. So looking to the universe to show us what we are contemplating and harboring, right? So we can have the beautiful things where synchronicities fall in place, and then we can also see when things aren't working. Things are just like you're in a spell where you just don't feel like you're just in this kind of a washing machine, you know, you can't quite get out of it. It just seems like one bad thing happens after another. And that's when we have to look at what we are harboring about ourselves and about our relationships with others. If we're feeling victimized by this world and that you feel that you grabbed the wrong cards this lifetime and somehow you have this unlucky life, right? Then you're going to create a very unlucky life. But if you're claiming that your good is always happening. My good is always happening. Everything always works out for me. We just come up with these great affirmations that it's all in divine order. Everything is always working out for me, right? We just affirm it, we decree it, and then the universe constantly shows us that everything is working out for us. It's just a matter of tuning of a string. Sometimes we just think that it's going to be some overcoming that is going to finally get us to awaken into the valley of love and life. And when we don't realize that it's us that's creating our relationship with the universe, we are 100% in control of our experience. And even if everything outside you looks like a disaster, people are taking your good away, your job is taking your good away, you name it, your car is taking your good away. When you start to see the car working, you start to see the job working, you see the people at B that are the discord that's pulling the rug out from underneath you, and you start to see them as blessed and having deep empathy and compassion for their discord, right? Instead of getting angry and frustrated that somebody's holding your good from you, nobody can hold that from you. Nobody ever can, unless we give them that permission to do so, and that's because we're harboring that they have some sort of control over our experience. We can see people differently in our mind's eye, and you will literally have a different person appear. When our children are having a hard time and they're in a difficult place, that's one of the big ones I counsel people about, especially teenagers, and I have 2 of them at home right now. It's such a touch and go time. You know, you want to swoop in and you want a helicopter, but you also need to keep that distance so they don't know that you are. You are actually controlling them like little puppets, but they don't know, you know, to keep them safe. But I always see my children, and I have a daughter that's 26 also, I always see them in my meditation before I come out of it with the default of just pure happiness. I think of the best phase of their life and the happiest moments of their life and just seeing them infused in just glory and love and beauty. And that's the kids I meet when I make sure I take that time to just see them happy and hopeful and encouraged and loved. And we can do the same thing for ourselves. Seeing ourselves happy. Seeing ourselves during a phase where we felt really like we had it together and we were prosperous and we had purpose and we were invigorated by this beautiful life, and then somehow maybe it's changed since then, to go back to the vibration of that version of yourself, remembering that version, bringing her forward, bringing him forward. And before you know it, you're going to forget why you even had to do that visualization or that affirmation, because all of a sudden you're just in divine alignment again. Again, that brings us back to a singing bowl that you play with, because also your vibration becomes a part of that bowl. And not only are you getting blessed, but your home is getting blessed when you're using it. That vibration is going on beyond the walls. Every neighbor's getting blessed, because it's the heart. And you should play the bowls and not necessarily pick the key that is the heart, but what resonates with your soul body, because we all resonate on different frequencies. There's a frequency that's made for you right now, right? So there's a surrender process to being in alignment with spirit, right? We have to be able to surrender from our own picture of what life is supposed to be. A lot of times we just keep building the story of what we had planned for ourselves at a certain phase of life, and all of a sudden we're not there, and then we're really disappointed because we are so linear. We're just so age-oriented. Oh, well, in 5 years I was supposed to have this all accomplished and all these things, and we're like, ah. And the happiest people I know are the people that aren't planning, but are living every day in the presence and creating heaven on earth here. There's nothing to plan for. The universe is always leading our lives beautifully if we can become a whole vessel of the spirit of truth in our beingness, in what we give out and what we receive, what we're telling ourselves, what we're feeling about spirit. So have you ever asked the universe for a sign to help you make a decision or for guidance along your path? If you find yourself stuck in your own story and not moving forward because of events that have happened in your life, consider the advice of Edgar Cayce, who said, "Don't feel sorry for yourself. If you have chosen the wrong road, turn around." That's it. It's as simple as it is. It's like the Native Americans will say when you're dealing with something that you are really attached to and it all falls away, we just go, it is what it is. Right? Look at that. Look at all these little easy things, because it's not my will be done. It's thy will be done. When we can really allow that flow, this is the moment, like Esther Hicks says, you're in the raft and you're paddling up the river and you're so exhausted, trying to get to some sort of picture that you believe is going to make you happy. And all you ever had to do was just drop the oars. Spirit, I give my life to you. And the boat turns around and it just starts to guide you to what is needed and what is necessary. And it's probably going to be a lot better than you could even dream for yourself. Instead of street signs or different colored lights telling you when to stop and go, or cones guiding you in your lane, things like repeating numbers, colorful dreams, a song on the radio, a fortune cookie message, the words of a stranger, or a certain animal suddenly keeps popping up. These may be guides to your path. So the synchronicities of numbers, that's one that I really live by, right? I know what they all mean, and you can look online if you're seeing, a certain number repeating. 1111 is mine, and that's just that Spirit's with you, or Spirit's validating you. Something's going on in your life. You've got to look at, why did I see the number? What was I just thinking? What was I just saying? Because it's a validation. Yes. Or you're off your rocker with what you're sharing, and the universe is like, you sure? You sure that's what you really want to do? Right? It's course correcting. So for spiritually awakened people, coincidences are significant occurrences. Once you start noticing 1111, 333, 444, 202, your ego is going to sleep for your soul to rise, right? So there's a part of us that this is bringing spirit forward. One of the ones that I recognize is a sharp ringing in the ear, out of nowhere, right? Look at what you're thinking, what you're telling yourself, or what you're saying to somebody, because that's your spirit guide right there. Just yes, right? It's usually a yes for me, because I'm saying, I think it's time to step in, and, I might be dreaming in some way about where I want to head with this ministry, with music, and all these things that I've been ready to do, and I'll be sharing it in excitement, and the universe, my ear just rings, and I just feel like it's like, yes, yes, right? We're listening to our heart. We're excited, right? When you're excited to try new things and step into it and be okay with it failing too, but stepping in and always stepping in and saying yes to opportunities, right? So a way for you to know that your ethereal body and your physical body are in alignment is yawning. So when you actually yawn all of a sudden, out of nowhere, even in tiredness, what it's doing is it's aligning your ethereal body and your spirit body, your physical body, before you go to sleep to keep you connected. Because I'm going to read this about what sleep, and Edgar Cayce says about it. So the study of subconscious, subliminal, psychic, soul forces is and should be the great study for the human family. Through self, man, which, we're referring to people, I'm not going to change it around. Man will understand his maker when he understands his relationship to his maker. He will only understand that through himself. What one thinks continually, they become. What one cherishes in their heart and mind, they make a part of the pulsation of their heart through their own blood cells and build in their own physical, and which his spirit and soul must feed upon. And this is what Edgar Cayce says about death. When the soul passes from the physical body, the subconscious mind, which never forgets, is then as the sensuous mind of the soul body. The spirit or superconscious mind becomes the subconscious of the soul. While incarnate in the body, the sensuous mind is what we call the conscious mind. But after death, or for that matter, even during sleep, so listen to this, after death, or for that matter, even after sleep, this is really interesting, I think. Edgar Cayce says, sleep is a shadow of death. The active mind becomes the soul's mind, the subconscious. So when people go, what is it like when we die? Every night we're going to that energy, right? And think of all the people that visit us that have crossed over, that come in our dreams, right? And we go, oh, that was just me thinking of the person coming up. But then you think of the circumstances and the stuff you would never think up. You just had a visitation from Maya. Maya, I've had a dream where she's in the backseat of the car and she's just talking to me, but I can't see her. And I just stay in that car and I have a sense that I know she's crossed over, but I don't want to park the car and there's a parking spot, but I just keep driving because I want her to keep talking to me in the dream. And she's always so bright and happy and beautiful. So Buddha emphasized meditation. In the New Testament, Jesus goes alone to be in prayer. If you read about how he prays, there's a period of silence and a period of receiving. He receives messages during periods of silence. Silence then is important for miracles to happen. And I'm just going to start playing this singing bowl. And then I'm going to take you into a guided meditation. And put all of your energy right now to connect with the vibration of this singing bowl. This will tweak and balance and bring your body, mind, and spirit back into homeostasis, into perfection and balance. Soften your mind and open your heart. Bring up an area in your life right now that has been concerning you and visualize it meeting this vibrational balance so that the universe can heal the situation without your even trying to do it yourself. Stay softened in your mind and feel held by spirit. Nothing can hurt you, make you afraid, make you sick. You are a perfect, direct child of God, Spirit, Source, Divine Mother, Divine Father. Your natural state is health, wholeness, and happiness. And now we're just going to go into silence with some beautiful music for the next 5 minutes. So we're going to bring our energy back into this room, feeling our heart filled with love and light. When we come back in this room, we just thank you, Spirit, for this time, for this connection with this divine light, this divine life. And to this we say, Amen. We will take an offering for unity now. While we're taking our offerings in our hands, for those of you that are joining us on live stream, here are all the many ways that you can tithe to unity. You can go to our website, I think the easiest, unityofboulder.com, and scroll down the home page to donate now. So let's take our offerings in our hands and bless it with this offering statement. Divine love, through me, blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive because I give. That completes our service today. I will not be holding a circle after this service because I have a fully different sermon I have to give at 11, so I need to go center myself and get into that. Norma and Jack will be back this Wednesday. I didn't know that this last Wednesday, so they'll be back here Wednesday, and they'll be back for next Sunday too. So thank you for coming. Have a blessed day.